As the festival of Passover approached, Jesus gathered with his disciples in an upper room. This was no ordinary meal. It was a moment of deep significance, filled with love, sorrow, and purpose. Jesus knew that his time on earth was drawing to a close. As he shared bread and wine with his followers, he spoke of sacrifice, of a new covenant, and of things yet to come. Though they did not yet understand, he was preparing them for the road ahead. On that quiet evening, Jesus also washed their feet, a simple yet profound act of humility and love. In this final supper, he demonstrated the heart of his mission: to serve, to give, and to redeem. After the meal, Jesus went out to a place called Gethsemane, a peaceful garden at the foot of the Mount of Olives. There, under the cover of night, he prayed. Though surrounded by olive trees and sleeping friends, Jesus was alone in agony. He wrestled with the weight of what was to come, the suffering, the separation, the cross. And yet, he submitted himself fully to the will of the Father. In that garden, the greatest spiritual battle was already being won. But then came betrayal. Soldiers arrived with torches and weapons, led by one of his own. Jesus did not resist. He surrendered, not because he was powerless, but because he had chosen this path out of love. Jesus was taken from one trial to another, before religious leaders, before Roman authorities. Accusations were thrown at him. False witnesses twisted his words, and through it all, he remained silent, dignified, and determined. While he faced his accusers, one of his closest followers denied even knowing him 3 times before dawn. Fear gripped the hearts of his friends, and they scattered into the shadows. The crowds that once welcomed him now shouted for his death. The sentence was passed. The innocent one would die the death of the guilty. Jesus was beaten, mocked, and led through the streets carrying a heavy wooden cross. The same hands that healed the sick and raised the dead were soon pierced with nails. At a place called Golgotha, he was lifted between heaven and earth. There he hung, bloodied and broken, between 2 criminals. Above him a sign read, "King of the Jews." For hours he endured the agony, not just the pain of the body, but the weight of humanity's sin. Darkness covered the land, and when the moment came, he gave up his spirit. What seemed like defeat was, in truth, the greatest victory. At that moment, the veil in the temple tore in 2. The way to God was opened forever. Jesus' body was carefully taken down from the cross and placed in a new tomb, carved out of stone. A large rock was rolled in front of the entrance, and guards were stationed there. The world was silent. The disciples were scattered and afraid. Hope seemed lost. Heaven, it seemed, was quiet. But beneath the silence, God was at work. The grave, though sealed, could not hold the Son of God. On the 3rd day, as the sun rose, everything changed. The stone was rolled away. The tomb was empty. The grave clothes lay untouched. Angels declared what eyes had yet to see. Jesus was alive. He began to appear to the women at the tomb, to the disciples behind closed doors, and later to many more. His body bore the marks of crucifixion, yet he stood victorious. Over the days that followed, he encouraged his followers, restored broken hearts, and gave them a mission to go into the world and share the good news. And then, in full glory, he ascended to heaven. The Easter story is more than history. It is the heartbeat of the gospel. Through his death, Jesus paid the price for our sins. Through his resurrection, he conquered death itself. What began in sorrow ends in eternal hope. Because he lives, we are forgiven. Because he lives, we have peace. Because he lives, we will rise again. The cross was not the end. The tomb was only the beginning. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. The tomb is empty. Death is defeated. Jesus is alive, and that changes everything. If this story stirred your heart, don't let it stop here. Share the good news. Here's how you can be part of spreading hope. Like this video if it reminded you of God's incredible love. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new Bible story or devotional. Comment below. What part of the Easter story impacted you the most? And most of all, share this with a friend who needs a reminder that Jesus is alive and hope is real. This is more than just a video. It's a message the world needs to hear. Thanks for watching, and remember, he didn't just rise then, he reigns now. See you in the next story.